People often say, "Nothing lasts forever." Everyone knows this saying by heart, but truly understanding it and living by it is a tough journey. The first, seemingly simple truth we have to face is that life is constantly moving. Try to think, is there ever a time when things are completely still? Definitely not. Even when you sit quietly, your body is busy changing. Another white hair appears, your skin shows a few more signs of time, and old cells quietly leave to make room for new ones. Even the phone you hold, the house you live in, the car you drive, all are slowly wearing out over time. This isn't a bad thing, and it's certainly nothing to be afraid of. It's just a natural law, a rule of the game that no one can argue with. We often dread change because people always long for stability. We want this job to be permanent, this love to last forever, this health to stay the same. But the truth is, life has never been a still photo. It's a film that keeps rolling. It is this change, this very movement of the universe that creates the rhythm of life. Without change, how could we have 4 seasons, light and shadow, beginnings and endings? Everything needs to pass to make room for the new. What makes us tired is not the change itself, but the obsession with trying to run away from this obvious truth. When sadness comes, what makes us suffer is not just the event, but the wish. I wish this hadn't happened. When a person leaves, the torment comes not just from their footsteps, but from the desire to hold on to them, to make them stay at all costs. This very act of trying to fight nature is the root of all tiredness. We waste so much energy fighting things that were already set in motion. If life is a river that is always flowing, then trying to hold a small puddle of water in your hand will only hurt your hand, and the water will get muddy. The simple truth is, everything is moving, and accepting that is the first, most important step to stop hurting yourself. It's how you save energy to live fully in the present moment, instead of constantly trying to hold on to what you want but can never keep. If everything changes, why are we still in constant pain and stress? The answer is very simple. Suffering doesn't come from change. It comes from our attempt to hold on to things we simply cannot keep. Try to picture this. You are standing in a fast-flowing river, your hands desperate to keep a small bit of water. The tighter you squeeze, the more the water slips through your fingers, and the more exhausted you get from fighting the current. This is exactly what we repeat every day in life. We try to keep our youth, using every method to hide wrinkles, not wanting to admit our bodies are changing. But that's just a helpless attempt to interfere with time. We cling to the past, constantly dwelling on a broken relationship or a lost job, hoping it will return to how it was. But trying to fix what is already gone is just a waste of emotional energy. We tightly hug our possessions, worrying every day about loss, fearing the future, clinging to money and fame as if they were permanent lifesavers. All of these holding on tight actions are the very root of mental exhaustion. The energy that should be used for creating, loving, and enjoying is now drained in a hopeless battle against nature. Suffering and burnout, in the end, are not the necessary results of a hard life. They come from the habit of resisting the truth. And using your energy to fight things that are meant to be is the most terrible waste that we put on ourselves. After realizing that we get tired from trying to hold on to outside things like money or youth, it's time to dig deeper inside. And there, we find another source of burden, much heavier. The biggest weight we put on ourselves. The false self, also called the mask we wear every day. Don't you realize that for most of our lives, we are busy playing a role we think others want to see? Instead of living true to what we truly feel or want, we try hard to become. Successful people must have big houses. Smart people must know everything. Or good people must please everyone. The perfect, flawless image that we work so hard to build is actually the false self. It's woven from 2 threads: the desire to stand out, to be approved, and the fear of being judged, of being left out. To keep that mask from falling, we always have to strain ourselves, feel tense, be alert, and constantly prove our value in the eyes of others. This is the deeper reason we are exhausted. We are not exhausted from the things we have to do. but from the play we are acting out. Tightly holding on to the titles, status, or image that we worked hard to create becomes an extremely costly internal battle. Every compliment, which seems nice, actually turns into a rope that ties us to that role, making us even more afraid of the possibility that we are not perfect. But the truth is, your real self, the quiet person inside who doesn't need praise or applause, doesn't need any protection. It's like the air, always present, quiet, and natural, without needing anyone's approval. As soon as you stop running after fame and the perfect image outside, a huge source of mental energy is instantly freed. At that point, you are no longer exhausted from acting, but simply able to live. Talking about letting go sounds nice, but to be honest, we have to admit that this philosophy of an easy life is not for everyone. It's easier for those who already have a safety net. If you were born with plenty, the advice to slow down might be a choice. But for those who have to fight every second just to survive, trying hard is no longer a choice. It's the only tool for survival. Therefore, this idea needs a different way to be applied for people who are truly struggling. For young people who feel lost, this lost feeling doesn't just come from a lack of money, but also from the huge outside pressures weighing them down. They struggle with deep questions. Who am I? How can I be as good as others? However, their precious energy is not spent on finding a direction. It is drained by constant worry, comparison, and the fear of failure. That is a terrible waste of spirit. For people with families who are struggling with money, they have to work extremely hard to take care of their spouse and children. For them, letting go of effort is the same as letting their family fall into hardship. However, the real problem is not the hard work. What drains them more is the energy exhausted by bitterness, anger, and blaming fate. Holding on to those negative emotions is the true useless burden that leaves them more exhausted than physical labor. When you stop trying to force everything to go your way, you will find yourself becoming more flexible, more able to adapt. You are no longer a stiff piece of wood that breaks easily, but a soft stream of water that always finds a way out of every situation. This is not being passive. This is the power of adaptation. It helps you stay calm and focus your energy on actions that actually get results. No advice, no matter how wise, matters if we don't know where we stand. Living smartly is not about running faster than others, but about knowing your own speed and limits. Most of us are just normal people in this huge world, and accepting that fact is the first step to freeing your mind. The biggest burden we often put on ourselves is the pressure to compare. Social media today is full of success stories, fancy trips, and flawless false selves. When we look at that, we accidentally use someone else's ruler to measure our own life. They bought a house at 25. Why don't I have one yet? Just one question like that is enough to drain our energy. Smart living first requires self-awareness. Know your position. Be honest with yourself about the money, health, and time you have. Don't let the goals of someone born rich become a pressure for you, especially if you are starting from nothing. When you know your position, you can choose the right path and set realistic goals. Do less. When you know who you are, you will naturally stop doing useless things, wasting less energy on things that bring no value. Compare less. Spend less time looking at other people's achievements, and instead focus on your own to-do list. Judge less. Cut back on the habit of judging others, and more importantly, stop judging yourself for not meeting the standards society has set. Interfere. Less. Reduce the effort to control things that are beyond your control, like other people's opinions, market changes, or bad weather. The goal of doing less is not to live a boring life, but to clear your mind so that your energy can be fully focused on actions that are truly important and meaningful, like working effectively, loving your family, and taking care of your health. And when you stop trying to catch up with others, you'll find that you can go farther, and more importantly, you will travel with peace of mind. People often think that letting go means giving up, failing, or living an empty life with no ambition. But that is a huge misunderstanding. Letting go is not losing something. It's simply stopping two things: stopping the effort to hold on to things that should have passed, and stopping the insistence on protecting a false image of yourself. Picture this. You have been tightly holding a large rock in your hand for years. That rock is your worries, your fear of loss, your habit of comparing yourself to others. Letting go is simply opening your hand. You don't need to look for peace far away. You don't need to buy a new course or wait until retirement to find calm. The very moment you relax your hand, relief will rush in right away. That feeling of relief is the peace that is already inside all of us. It has always been there, just buried under the weight of trying to control, of heavy expectations, and of useless anger. When you stop struggling to maintain the false self, the image of someone always successful, always right, you will suddenly feel a sense of calm spread, even if your work is still unfinished. You will still work hard, still face challenges, but you won't feel miserable because of it anymore. True freedom is not something you have to chase hard to achieve. Freedom is what is left when you let go, when you stop holding on. It's the feeling you get when you can tell yourself, I am not perfect, and I'm okay with that. That inner strength will help you live fully in the chaos of life without letting stress control your mind. If life is short, then what truly matters? The final answer is not in a list of achievements, but in the quality of every moment you live. The most important thing is learning how to live fully and not let suffering be in charge anymore. We often mistakenly think we are fighting time and circumstances. You try to slow down aging, earn enough money to escape a cramped space, or wish for an extra 24 hours every day. But the truth is, we can't control time or space. We can't change the flow of time, nor can we fight the laws of nature. Every effort to control these two things is a huge waste of energy. The thing we can control is the moment we understand the natural nature of life. That is the only and ultimate power in every person's hands. The second you accept, everything changes. I can't control how others react, or this has already happened, is the moment you stop fighting reality. That moment of awareness can turn all the energy of worry and anger into the power of clarity, so you can act more effectively than ever before. And then, the final action is also incredibly simple. Relax your body. Right now, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. That small action is a way of letting go of mental stress. Stop judging. Don't rush to label things happening as good or bad. Just observe. Work naturally. Do what needs to be done with your whole heart, but don't let ambition or fear control you. Remember, living wisely is not about waiting for a perfect future without pain, but about knowing how to stop suffering right now. Live like water, soft but firm, not fighting, but still reaching the final destination.